Hey guys, this is Austin. Any other year, and this phone would be called the iPhone 7s. It has a new design with a glass back, upgraded cameras, faster internals, and even a new feature in wireless charging. And yet, all of this is under the shadow of the upcoming iPhone 10, which really does beg the question, why does the iPhone 8 exist? Of course, plenty of companies have a wide variety of phones to choose from, ranging from budget options all the way to the incredibly expensive, and surprisingly, Apple is actually no exception this year. You have options ranging all the way from the $350 iPhone SE, to the $450 iPhone 6s, the $550 iPhone 7, of course you've got the $700 iPhone 8, as well as all the way up to the top of the range, the $1,000 iPhone 10. The issue is that Samsung has already been shipping a truly next generation feeling piece of hardware with the Galaxy S8. Not only is it going to cost you about the same amount as the iPhone 8, but it's been shipping for the better part of a year already. In a vacuum, the iPhone 8 is a nice design. However, when you put it side by side with the Galaxy S8, that iPhone really does look a lot less like a brand new 2017 flagship and a lot more like a 2014 iPhone 6. Apple has made some small improvements to the iPhone 8, most notably including their True Tone tech. So this is borrowed from the iPad, and it adjusts the white balance of the display to better suit the environment that you're in. It's a cool feature, and of course the iPhone still has a solid IPS display. When you put it side by side with the Galaxy S8, it is absolutely no contest. The AMOLED display of the S8 not only has far better color, brightness, and especially contrast, but the Infinity display means that not only does it have curved edges, but essentially no bezel on top and bottom of the phone either. This is pretty much the approach that Apple is taking with the iPhone 10, and I would actually argue that they're taking it even farther. So yes, you do have to deal with the notch, but in exchange, the rest of the phone is pretty much entirely screen. There's essentially no bezels in sight. The only issue is that the iPhone 10 costs a whopping $300 more than both the S8 as well as the iPhone 8. It's not all bad though. The iPhone 8 shares a lot of specs with the 10, including very similar cameras. So paired with better processing and new sensors, this is actually a surprisingly big leap over the previous generation of iPhones. It brings it a lot closer to stuff like the Galaxy S8 as well as the Pixel, especially when you consider just how much detail you're able to get in a single image. You want to be in a video? This is like actually perfect. This is the iPhone 8.
Is that the iPhone 8?
This is the iPhone 8 right now. What are you guys' names?
I'm Davey.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Dana.
I guess there's a little occasion going on today or something?
We got married.
Congratulations. Can I take some pictures with us?
Yeah.
Totally.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Ready, and that looks really good.
Awesome.
All right, let me try some portrait mode here.
Oh my god.
That's pretty nice, right?
That's awesome.
See here. It messed up a little bit with the veil, but that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's super good.
Video on the 8 is really impressive. It's second to only maybe the LG V30. So the stabilization works really well, especially when you're handheld, and you do have some new 4K shooting modes, including 4K 24, which I'm actually a big fan of, but you also can shoot at a pretty impressive 4K 60 frames per second. We're also getting upgraded 240 frame per second mode at a full 1080p. So the last iPhone could do 240, but it was at 720p, and honestly it was pretty grainy. But with your iPhone 8, you're getting surprisingly usable footage, especially when you slow it down by 10 times. Some of the results can actually look surprisingly good. You're also getting the Apple A11 Bionic chip. Now I'll spare you all the technical details, but both the iPhone 8 as well as the iPhone 10, which share the same spec, are very fast. Put the iPhone 8 side by side with not only the 7, but also the Galaxy S8 as well as the Note 8, and you will see that the iPhone 8 is hands down the fastest phone out right now in Geekbench. It's a similar story on the graphics side with GFX Bench, although here it's less of a runaway victory, but the iPhone still does win out. It's impressive enough that I slightly lost my mind and compared it to the PlayStation 4. And you guys can check that video out if you want to see how they stack up, but suffice it to say, the iPhone is very fast. It's not perfect though. While the glass back doesn't get as warm under extended gaming like the iPhone 7 did, but when you compare it side by side with the Galaxy S8 as well as the Note 8, you will see that the iPhone 8 does exhibit some thermal throttling. In actual use though, the iPhone 8 is incredibly snappy, and that should be shared with the iPhone 10. That is a surprisingly common thread between the 8 and the 10. Not only do they both support wireless charging, but they also have fast charging via a USB-C to Lightning cable, which my friend Danny Winget tested, and it actually stacks up fairly well compared to a lot of other Android flagships. You're also getting the same IP67 water resistance on both the 8 as well as the 10. Now I don't have a 10N to test just yet, but I can say that the iPhone 8 speakers sound phenomenal. It's the same basic stereo design from the iPhone 7, but it's much louder, much richer. It really does put not only other Android phones to shame, but it's really the first phone in years that's come close to matching HTC's boom sound. So yes, the iPhone 8 does give up the bezel-less OLED display from the 10, but in return, the 10 gives up Touch ID. Now, Face ID is interesting, and there's no doubt that Apple's put a ton of really interesting technology into it, but it is the only option short of using a passcode. There are tons of situations where I would rather pull my phone out and use Touch ID on the iPhone 8 versus hold the 10 in front of my face and hope that it actually unlocks. Even if it's a perfect setup, I would still prefer to have the option of using Touch ID. At first glance, the iPhone 8 seems like a weird choice in a 2017 world of super thin bezels, but look past the screen and everything else is there. To me, the iPhone 10 is looking like a classic first generation Apple product. It's a beautiful design and there's a ton of potential, but it's also really expensive, and if the supply rumors are true, it is going to be quite a while before it's easy to actually get your hands on one. I can understand why someone might want to pick up an iPhone 8 today. It might not even be crazy to skip the 10 altogether and wait for the next generation, which hopefully brings the same design, but with a lower price, and hopefully stuff like Touch ID will be re-added. But what do you guys think? Should the iPhone 8 exist in 2017? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.